Hello. In this session, we are going to understand the concept of variables. What is a variable? So when we work in different programming languages like C, C++, Java, Python, we will be making use of variables. For example, let me say that x is equals to 1 and y is equals to 2. And if I have to execute x plus y as an arithmetic operation, so what I will do x plus y, it will give me 3. Right? So it means that x is holding a value of 1 and y is holding a value of 2. This is what we normally do. It means x is a placeholder. X is a kind of a bucket where this value is stored. This value can change. Variable means that keeps on changing. Okay. Variable itself means to change. So this value can come 5. So now result will be 7. If this value is 0, now result will be 2. Same way it goes for y. So these are variables. X and y is a variable and 1 and 2 is the value that is stored in that variable. So that's why we call it as a placeholder. So variables are named symbols that represent either a string or a numeric value. So if I write this, this is a numeric value. If I say name is a variable and John, this is string. Okay, this is not a mathematical value. If I say college, this is a string. If I include some spaces, this is a string. Okay. So some people like it using single quotes. I prefer it using double quotes. Okay. So numeric values, string values. So in this case, x is a variable, y is a variable, name is a variable, and this John is the value that is stored in this variable. Are you guys with me? This is the value. This value can change. If someone is telling you what is the name of the variable, you will say college. And if someone is telling you what is the value that is stored in that variable, you will say this one. Okay. So we use equal to as an assignment while we are trying to define this. I'm telling there is a variable called name and value of John is assigned to that variable. Okay, so this equal to is also called an assignment operator in this case, in which we are defining the value for this variable. We are trying to store the value of this variable as this, and this value can change whenever we want. Okay, so different programming languages have their different set of rules to access these values. But when we talk about shell, the next shell, if let's suppose variable is like this, to access the value of that, I will use $x. When I will use $x, it will take the value. When I do x, it will simply print me x. So let me show you that. I'm logged into my terminal. I'm having x is equals to 1. So this variable x is defined and value of 1 is stored in that variable x. So x is a placeholder where value of 1 is stored. If I will do echo x, I'm just printing this value. So it simply prints x. If I will print $x, then it will give me the value. Are you guys with me on this? So when you prefix dollar in front of a variable, it will give you the value that is stored in that. So let me give you another example. Let's suppose this is a string value I'm storing in a variable called John. If I will do echo name, it will simply print name. But if I want to access the value, what I will be doing, $name. So now it is giving me a value that is stored in that. Okay. So we are going to see few examples how it works. Okay. X is 1, Y is 2. Okay. So we will be to perform some mathematical calculations, addition, subtraction, multiplication. We will be dealing with that later. Now, at this time, we are only trying to understand the concept related to variables. As long as these values are numeric, you can do arithmetic operations. Echo $x. Let me write a string. Value of x is equals to $x, which will saying value of x is 1, correct? If I will say value of y is $y. So what is happening when I'm just printing this? It is printing this y. But when I'm using dollar, it is printing the value that is stored in that variable. Okay. Let me save. I want to unset the value. So let's suppose I have given value of 2 to y. I want to undo this operation. I don't want y to have any value. Okay. Other thing is I will update value of y as something else. This will definitely update it. See, the value is updated. So this when there is a variable, right, it gets some space in the memory where it keeps this value. So when you are redefining it, that memory location gets updated with the new value. Okay, it's a kind of a chair. At this time, 2 was sitting, now 5 is sitting. It's a placeholder. So it is always possible to unset the value. Right now, the value of x is set as 2, let's suppose. Okay, I will just print this. Yeah, so right now the value of x is 2. I'm not liking that. I want to unset that value. I want to keep, I don't want to have variable x with value 2 in that. What I will do, unset x. Now, see, now there is no value. Okay, so now there is no value. Are you guys with me on this? May I see your show of yes or no in the chat window? Yeah. So dollar capital name. So this will pull out the value that is stored in the variable called name. So when I will be sorry, when I will be executing this command, what do you think will be executed? What should be the output? Any guesses? What should be the output of this command? You guys have 2 minutes to decide what will be the final output when I will press enter. Okay, very good. Hmm. My name is Mark Henry and I'm studying in Humber North. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Okay. Yes, it matters. So it is taking this value as name as Mark Henry, but it has not printed college. Do you see any issue with this variable? This college is defined with capital C and everything is small. So, but this particular variable is defined in caps. So that is the reason. So these are case sensitive things. Now it is printing correct. Okay. So we need to take care of whether my variable is in uppercase or lowercase. Okay. Now one more thing I want to show you here. There is one new line character. I want that, okay, my name is this should be printed on first line, and in the second line, it will be printing the rest of the message. Okay. So there is one new line character that is available in most programming languages. What it will do, uh, till this point, it will be printing as it is. After that, when it faces the new line character, it takes this to the next line. Correct? It's like a break tag in HTML. Then let's suppose I'm adding this. The weather is good today. Okay. So if I will print this, so I will be seeing three lines in my output in which this is getting filled as a first line, and after that it will take to the second line, and then that's about it. Let me see. Okay. Do you see any reason why it is not working? Do you think why it is not working? Or shall I use slash n, or this was correct? Yeah, this is correct. So if you will be working on Java, Python, or C, C++, there is a new line character which we normally use, so that it will take rest of the line to the next line. So the reason is echo command is not treating this as a new line character. The problem is this command echo is not treating this as a new line character. So let me check man page of echo. So it is telling there are few things it is taking. Yeah, it is saying that it is a new line character. Oh, you know what it is telling? If you plan to use these things, you have to use -e. Let's try that. So my command will be same. The only thing is if I'm using these special symbols, I'll be using C. So now what happens? It works here, and after that it sees the new line character and it takes this, including this space, it takes this and takes it to the new line. Again, it encounters the new line character and it takes the rest of the message to the new line. So we are learning few options of echo command as well, and as at the same time we are trying to experience how variables are being used. Are you guys with me? May I see your show of yes or no in the chat window if you guys are able to understand what I'm explaining? Okay. Let me show you one more example. I'm setting this variable name as, okay. Initially, we can see that this name is saved as Mark Henry. I'm trying to update this value to John. By just assigning it the new value, it will update the value in the background. So this variable is given one memory location where it is keeping this value. Okay. So you know what? I don't want this value to be changed for this variable. I want this value to be constant. Right? Let's suppose if I'm changing it to John 1, it changes. It changes, right? I don't want this. If I'm telling the value is John, it should stay John. Even if someone tries to change it, it should not be updatable. So what we need to do? There is some special property. We need to set this variable as read-only variable. We need to set this variable as a read-only variable. We need to set this variable as a read-only variable. Okay, let me do that. So after you set this variable, you can say read-only name. So let me check the value of name first. So whenever you try to access the value, it's always a good practice to use quotes with this thing. It will print you that. Okay. So John. So now let me try to change the value of John. So it is telling it is a read-only variable. You cannot change it. So this is one way to fix the value to a variable. Okay. Sometimes we may need this. Let's suppose that I'm setting x is equals to 1. I'm just doing echo $x is 1, or echo in quotes also it will give you the same. Okay. I prefer this. Okay. That whenever you are using to access the value, you always use quotes along with that. It's a good practice. But if I will set read only x, how many of you think this will update the value to 5, and how many of you think it will not update the value? If I press enter at this point, how many of you think the value of x will be updated to 5? Will it update it or not? It's telling it is a read-only variable. It is a read-only variable. It cannot. So, okay, this is a read-only variable. So let me try to unset this. Unset x. No, you cannot unset. This value is fixed. This value is fixed. Means this value is constant. You cannot change this value. You guys with me on this? Thank you.